Hello, my name is Father Thomas Hann, and today is the fourth Sunday of Easter, which is nicknamed Good Shepherd Sunday, but also it is the 57th World Day of Prayer for Vocations, especially to the priesthood and consecrated religious life, to embark upon the discernment of a call from God to the priesthood or religious life can be a little daunting and scary. And to help with that, to dispel some of the mystery around the process, although the call is always a gift and mystery, we have created this video, which includes two interviews. The first is I get to interview my parents, and the second interview is Matt Jakupco, our seminarian, interviewing his mother about the process. So I hope it's a help to you to see what it's like when God calls a young person to the priesthood, but also I hope it serves as a reminder to you to pray today for young men and women to answer courageously God's call, to be witnesses in our church of holiness, to give us sacraments, but also to pray every day with that intention. So enjoy these interviews. God bless you. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Good morning, Father Haan.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining me and putting up with my crazy ideas.
You bet.
Maybe not the first or the last time.
Oh, thank you. Well, if anybody's going to watch this, maybe you can go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us about what you guys do and about our family.
Why don't you go ahead?
I'm Father Haan's mother, Mary Ann. I'm a homemaker and farm wife, and we have 4 children. Our oldest son, Paul, is married to Rachel, and they live in Virginia. Father Haan's next. Our son, Jacob, who tragically passed away about 25 years ago in a car accident. And then our daughter, Mary Catherine, who is engaged to be married hopefully this summer, and to Alec. And she works at Matrix Life Care Pregnancy Center in Lafayette.
Dad?
Yeah, Hann, and I farm for a living and live east of Lafayette in Tippecanoe County all my life.
Thank you. Next question is, it's an either-or question. Was I a perfect child growing up or very near perfect?
I'll let you handle this one as well.
How would you describe my childhood?
That's the only 2 choices you're giving us. Okay.
Now, go ahead and describe.
For a typical, very active young boy, and always very inquisitive, and kind of liked to push his mother to the limits, and logged some significant time on the timeout chair, but was honestly a very, very good boy and always active like a young boy should be. Would you agree?
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Very active. Always enjoyed playing with his cousins and sports and
4-H.
Oh yeah, 4-H. But I'm thinking as a young child, yes, you did push a few buttons, but you may be a little goofy at that age, but I think it's worked out okay.
Well, yeah, it takes time, but I usually tell people I probably spent more time in timeout than all of my siblings combined at times 2. And while that might seem like an injustice, I do believe I deserved it. So thank you.
Okay.
Tell us about your efforts in trying to incorporate prayer in our family.
Okay. We never missed mass. We made that a priority in our life, obviously. We tried to say a family rosary Sunday nights. We go on vacation. We would always try to say a rosary on the way, and when we get back, I know when we would go somewhere, we try to make it a priority to visit religious sites. If we went to, say, St. Louis or Nashville or wherever, we'd find out there's a basilica or something of interest to our faith, and try to make that a priority and visit that.
We did morning devotions before school many times and prayed before the kids left for school. If they were at sporting camps or away from home over a weekend, if they couldn't get to mass on their own, we would physically go get them and take them to mass. I'm trying to think of some other things. Just always family prayer before meals, and sometimes we'd try to incorporate, like during Lent, I would read scripture to you before you went to bed during Lent, or I'd write a little Bible verse on chalkboard, just little things.
Well, you did a lot of things right. A lot of those things stuck with me, and I don't miss mass today. So, and I didn't miss it in college either. So, what are your memories of either me bringing up this idea of being called to the priesthood, or observing me and seeing that in me? Do you have any memories?
Yeah, go ahead.
Early on, maybe in high school, you were always interested in attending Sunday night benediction at church, and then afterwards they'd have youth nights, and you always like to stay for that. Let's see here, and on into college, when any activities outside of that that you could go to.
Well, my first memory of this being brought up, I think you were early grade school, but when you said what you wanted to be when you grew up, these were not choices. This is what you wanted to do. You wanted to be a comedian, a farmer, an NBA player, and a priest. And I think that, working all that together would be tough, but I think we can rule out NBA now. I think when you stop growing at 6'1" or whatever, I think we can rule that out. But
No, you guys taught me to follow my dreams, and I'm still pursuing all four. So thank you.
Okay, well, good luck with that. I remember at the dinner table for high school age, and we were having a discussion about what profession, or you're trying to think about college and so forth. And I remember your sister, who at that time would have been 7 or 8, said, "I think you'd make a good priest." And I remember you saying, nobody's ever told me that before. So that's the first time I remember it. I just kind of saw a spark there that maybe you had thought about that. And
we can blame Mary Kate.
Well, we blame her for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And from that point, I think your choice in reading materials, reading about saints and theology, and I'm not going to say that's not normal, but a lot of teenage boys, I think, would probably pick something else first.
I was sharing with you the other night, there were many times after youth nights on Sunday evenings, or maybe after a school activity, you would go to the Adoration Chapel. And sometimes I was aware and sometimes not, but then you wouldn't come home and you'd be late, and I'd get frustrated, and then I'd be worried. And that was before we had cell phones. You didn't have a cell phone. So where is he? Where is he? And I'd pace. And by the time you came home, I was pretty upset. And where you been? Well, come to find out, you've been at the chapel praying. So it was pretty hard to be aggravated with that. But yeah, many times spent extra time spent at the Eucharistic Adoration Chapel.
I have many of those memories too, and I don't know if it's the same dinner conversation that Dad's referring to, but I just remember you guys asking such good questions that was helpful for me. I mean, you asked, would you miss owning your own home, or having a profession, not being able to choose where you go for a job or an assignment, and those are really helpful for me to kind of figure out over time. So was there anything in the process of me kind of bringing up the idea of being called to the priesthood, anything through the process that kind of helped you understand at all?
I think just, I guess, seeing the spark in you, I felt like it was a call. That's what got you excited,
That's true.
was your faith.
Yeah, in conversations at the dinner table, that's true. That's when you get excited.
It would have been easy for me to say, well, it's just a phase. You really need to, continue your schooling in agriculture at Purdue and come back and farm and marry a real tall girl so my grandkids could be great athletes. But I could see what would make you happy. And, that's key. You want your kids to, live out their intended vocation, whatever that is and whatever drives them. And I can see that in you. So
I think your college experience gave you that opportunity to explore other avenues when you had a couple opportunities at Purdue with some ag scholarships and/or an opportunity to play football there. So there were two occupations that you might, or vocations that you would be interested in, and you pursued those and maybe weren't fulfilled. And then an opportunity came up that we found out about a program there at Notre Dame, which you can elaborate on, a program where you could be a student on campus, an undergrad, but also experience a priest or seminary style lifestyle. So that really opened up a good opportunity for you, I think.
Yeah, no, Notre Dame is the old college program. It's undergraduate seminary run by the Congregation of Holy Cross. And you're right. I mean, I could study whatever I wanted. I couldn't study ag at Notre Dame, but I studied economics and philosophy. But it was a house of 15 guys. We prayed together every morning, every night. We'd go to mass together and we'd have conversations about the priesthood. We had a priest living with us. So it really was a great kind of segue, if you will, to going full bore, full ahead. And I could still go to football games and stuff like that. So it was, and I have a memory. I don't know if you were ever explicitly said this to me, but I saw when we had a family picnic at Old College at Notre Dame. I thought that was a great moment for you guys too. See, there were like 25 younger priests from campus at that picnic. And I just felt like you saw how good those men were, how they were happy. And then you could see that I would be happy and that these priests were doing really great things for the church and for other people. And it would be an honor if your son would do those great things too. So just to kind of give reality to the idea I thought that picnic really helped too. So.
And I will always say all through the process, what a joy it's been to meet other parents, just average parents like the rest of us, and to meet them and how good and kind and how polite all the seminarians were and inclusive of their families, and also what wonderful young men that you were in training with or were in classes together, that always kind and polite and really, really good young men that were a pleasure to meet and are still friends of ours today. And just
yeah. And I wanted to comment on it as far as knowing about your vocation. To me, it was a gradual thing. It wasn't like one day. It was, like I said, we could start to see it in you and know that you were thinking about it. And I think when I knew it was probably a done deal was when you interned with John Deere a couple summers. And after the first summer, I think they offered you a pretty good job when you graduated. And like, well, think about, well, it wasn't about the money for you. And although you had an interest, I think I remember you saying, but yeah, maybe I can help somebody find the right tractor or combine to buy, but how do I really help that person virtually? So, well, maybe that's not the line of work for you then, I think I kind of knew that where we were headed.
Yeah, no, it was gradual. You're right. And those experiences like with John Deere were helpful. They were clarifying, and I feel like they made me a better priest. And I think what was really helpful for me is when we got to that point, you and Grandpa Hann were pretty explicit in saying you were super supportive, even though I wouldn't come back to the farm. Or it just took some implicit pressure off me that you had no expectations other than what God wanted. And that was awesome. So.
On that, I will say that when I told him you were going to Purdue in agriculture, he was really excited. But he was more excited when we said you're going to seminary.
Yeah.
So once again, where the priorities need to be, So.
Yeah. Well, shows the value of having a good family. So,
Yep.
Well, do you have any advice for anybody watching, any parents that are raising their kids?
Well, you go right ahead with that. I tried to help, but
I don't have any good advice. Just to be a good listener for one thing, and and offer them the opportunities. Keep your heart open and their heart open, and yes, in subtle ways to guide your children from kind of from behind the scenes, and give them opportunities to explore that, and always encourage it. And I think that'd be the.
And as I said earlier, just show them that faith is the priority in your life, and I think that'll carry through. And if you see a possible vocation in them, don't be afraid to say so. I mean, nobody ever said that to me, and there's a reason for that. But we've noticed in young men, and we kind of say something to them that if nobody ever says it, maybe they won't think, well, maybe that's not for me because nobody else notices it.
Yeah, that's important.
So all the vocations are important, but I think just making sure that your children, I guess, explore those ideas, and if they think that's a possibility, to be encouraging.
Well, thanks.
Yep.
Well, I think, is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah.
Now I could check your schedule. If the ground ever dries out, I could use a little help.
Oh, well, I'll be there if I can.
Right.
Hopefully our churches will be wide open and I'll have things to do, but if not, I'll be there. So
I kind of hope you're busy too.
Yeah.
It's been a joy, the whole journey. It was new territory for us, but it's been a wonderful journey. And to me, to the wonderful people that have helped form you along the way to be a good priest has been a true joy and pleasure for us. And the wonderful parishioners we've met through your different parishes have been a joy as well. So we've enjoyed the journey right along with you.
And it's not all the parents' influence. There's other, obviously, factors from, Mr. Butts at Central Catholic, that was your theology teacher, and Father Tim Alkire, and, on and on, that showed that you can be a joyful priest. And, there's a lot of influences that go into, your vocation. But we're thankful for all of them.
Well, it's been a joyful journey for me too, and I'm glad you're along for the ride. So, and of all the influences, you're the best. So, Mom, I know Mother's Day is just several days away, but I'll say I love you a lot. So thank you. You're awesome.
I love you as well. Love you as well. Very proud.
And Dad, you're okay.
No,
no, love you too, Dad.
Love you too,
Thank you.
All right. Hey, thanks for spending time with us this morning.
God continue to bless you.
God bless you guys. Bye-bye.
All right. I am joined now by my mom, Trisha Jakupco. Mom, thank you for joining me today. I guess just to start off, why don't you just give a little information, background about yourself?
Okay. Hi, Matt. Good to see you. My name is Trisha Jakupco. I actually live in Noblesville, Indiana. I work at Roche Diagnostics. I've worked there for 29 years. I am a senior trade compliance analyst there. I have one other son, Matt's brother, Nick, and Nick is in his first year of medical school, and I'm a parishioner at St. Elizabeth Seton in Carmel.
All right. Well, thank you for taking some time to spend with me here on Zoom and just talking about some questions, since it's I guess World Day of Vocations this Sunday. So I guess I'll just start off delving right back into the past here, and when I was real young. did you see any signs when I was really young that I might be called to the priesthood? And did you ever, I guess, when you started seeing that, when did you think it was like a serious thing and not just a phase or something that I was going through?
So, Matt, you always like to go to mass. And so I have another son to compare it to who didn't maybe like to go so much. And Matt, you were always, whenever you were interested in something, you were always all in. So if you watched the weather on the news for a week, you were all in on pretending to be a weatherman. We went to mass, you were all in on pretending to be the priest. But actually then, because you did that with a lot of things, it was seemed like that was just kind of, your childish things, kind of a role-playing type of thing. So I wasn't really thinking that it was serious. But as you got older in high school and you started being, doing a lot of altar serving and really having a bigger commitment to the parish and what was going on with the priests at our parish, and I started thinking, okay, maybe this is a little bit more serious.
Yeah, I was a pretty impressionable kid, so that doesn't surprise me hearing all that. But I don't know, what was your reaction to that? Were you nervous or afraid? Were you excited? I don't know, like just having a son who was thinking about the priesthood.
I don't know that I was nervous. I think that I was, it's like you don't have any frame of reference for a son that wants to be a priest. You're used to kids going away to college and starting a career or some other kind of vocation. You're not, obviously my father wasn't a priest, so you don't have a good frame of reference for, what's this going to be like? So I think that's a little bit different. And you don't, I just felt like what kind of guidance am I going to be able to give him? What am I going to be able to offer him? Because I don't know. It's something that's different. It's not like your friends at work have sons that are thinking about being in the seminary. So you kind of feel like you're a little bit at a disadvantage and, a little bit surprised about the whole thing.
Right. But I would say, so since going into seminary, almost 6 years through now, what is it like having a seminarian in the family? Have you noticed any changes with that, changes with the family in general?
I think in general, I think it's been a great experience. You realize as a parent, when your son is in the seminary, you've given up a little bit as a parent. It's the diocese makes a lot of the decisions, and it's part of what the parish and the diocese is doing, not so much of a decision of the parent. So you've given that a little bit of that up, but then there comes the positive things of I've really seen how you've matured, how you've gained so much confidence. And when you think about your child, you think, how are they going to get up there and speak in front of people and deliver a homily and all that kind of stuff? And then when I see you at church and you get up and speak in front of people, and I think, wow, I can't believe how, my son isn't a little boy anymore. He's grown up and he's, you have all the confidence to speak in front of people, a lot. So I think in that way, it's really for a parent to see their child grow in that way. I think that's a positive thing. And, I think as far as being in the family, I try not to treat you any different. I try, if you're ordained, don't expect me to be calling you Father Jakupco, because I'm still always going to call you Matt. But so I think it's, we try to just being the family like we always have been. And so, we try to make that part of your life normal.
How about any advice for parents who might have a son or daughter who might have a vocation, a religious vocation, or are discerning that?
So my advice is, and to be honest with you, I never have or did pray for you to become a priest. Always my prayer is, and I think this is a prayer that parents have for their children no matter what, is that you hope your children hear God's call for them no matter what the call is, whether it's a vocation to a married life, single life, the priesthood. You want your children to be happy. You want them to hear what God wants them to do, and you want them to be successful in their life. So I say prayer is an important thing. I also think we in the Lafayette Diocese have the seminarian parents have a little, I don't know if I'll say a support group, or we kind of have all gotten together to form a group where we can talk to each other, share our experiences, because it's it's different experiences. It's not like what your neighbors are going through. It's not what your friends that have college students, it's different. And there's different challenges and different feelings and that kind of stuff. So I think having our seminarian support group is really helpful, and definitely knowing all the men that are in the seminary and their parents has been a true blessing to me. And I really have enjoyed meeting all the seminarians and their parents. It's really helped. And I say, pray for vocations and support your children in whatever they want to do. And it's a positive thing. It's not a negative thing. So that's my advice.
There you go. Well, thank you, Mom. I do appreciate you joining me for this, and for all the support and all the prayers that you've given me, and when I was young and all through seminary. It's I'll never know the extent of it, but I am extremely grateful for it. So thank you for your willingness to share and be interviewed like this. So
You're welcome, Matt.
all right. Well, love you, Mom. Take care.
Okay, love you.